It's time to catch up with the LMU women's basketball program with our women's basketball report for November 22nd. In here with me is head coach Krystal Evans. Coach, I got a lot to talk about. Obviously, we just want to dive right in. First things first, you guys are off to a tremendous start, 4-0 for the first time since the 91-92 season. Not a player on your team that was alive the last time this program was off to this good a start. So, just as just to kind of assess your team's performance so far this season.
Well, I think we've obviously, like you said, came off to a great start. But more importantly, what a lot of folks don't see on the outside looking in is this team is just, our chemistry is so good right now. They get along. We're really gelling together, and I think that just obviously transferred to the court. And it's why we're successful. It's not, nothing magically happened over the summer. We still have the same pieces that we had last year outside of adding, a few freshmen and things like that. But again, I just think that the chemistry is so good right now, and it's making us successful.
Well, and then you open the season against the number 21 ranked team in the country, Lander. That's obviously a tough start, especially with, me and you talked about this off the camera again with a bunch of new pieces. And, you end up grinding out a win against them late. It was a 71-67 win, and you were up by 12 points in that game. So how much confidence did your girls get going forward, saying, hey, this is a team that was one of the tops in the Peach Belt Conference, 21st in the country, and we pretty much handled them from start to finish in this game?
Well, I think, we obviously jumped out to a lead, and we started the game really well. And, being at home never hurts the situation. But I think Kevin does a great job with Lander, and Lander's so quick, and they're so athletic. And we knew, down the stretch that, again, that was going to appear in the game. I mean, their quickness and their athletic ability, and it did. And obviously they started pressing us, and we had some, just careless turnovers and things like that. But what I'm proud about is the fact that we were able to pull it out, because the team that we had last year, we struggled. We were in a lot of tight games, and we went into overtime multiple times. We went in double overtime multiple times against Wingate and Anderson twice. And, it just seemed like when we were able to win the game, we didn't take care of business at the very end, and we let people linger around too long. And I was just very proud of the girls that they put it away, and took care of the ball in the last final minutes, and got some big stops on defense. And again, we were very fortunate to pull away with that victory. Lander has a very good team, and I think they're going to be a huge success this season as well.
Well, and obviously you did get a lot of confidence going forward. The next day you host USC Aiken in the second game of that SAC versus Peach Belt Challenge, and never trailed in that game, got up by as many as 32 points, as dominant a victory as you've had since you've been here, and really just pretty much nothing went wrong for you in that game. So obviously a nice performance.
Well, that was great, and obviously that's it's funny. The fans like close games, but coaches, we enjoy those games. And the players just came out and performed well. And again, we started the game really well, which I think that's so crucial, to really start on fire with energy and things like that. And it carried us throughout the entire game. And I was able to play everybody that game. And I think it let some of our starters rest a little bit, and that's always great, and get some of the freshmen some playing time, and that's much needed. And so it was definitely a great game. I thought our players did a good job. I thought the energy sustained us throughout the entire game, and again, it was a great victory for us.
Well, and then since then, you got a 17-point win at Cumberland's, and then a 19-point win at King. So not much trouble getting through those, maneuvering through those two opponents. At King, the thing that really stood out to me, there was a couple things that really stood out to me, but the big one is 13 three-pointers made in that game. You attempted 30, which is kind of uncharacteristic for your teams in the past, but if you can make 13 of 30, that's pretty good. Well,
I think our shot selection is good right now. And it's not that I'm not a fan of three-pointers. It's just I prefer to be a balanced team, have some scoring inside the paint. And what I mean by that is it's not always going through the post, it's attacking the basket. If you look at a shot chart, I want more circles in the paint than I do out on the perimeter, as far as shot selection. And, but we were in transition a lot that game, and the shots that we were taking were wide open. And again, we've got great shooters with great mechanics, and they're on balance. And if you're open, knock it down. And I don't mind those shots at any time during the game. And we've just been very fortunate to put ourselves in that position. And And as long as our girls hold on to that, our shot selection, and we're not forcing things, we're not, out of our mechanics or anything when we are taking shots, then by all means, knock it down.
Well, and the box score looked like something that you'd probably really like to see the rest of the year. It was certainly the 19-point victory, but it kind of looks like a box score that for us to be successful almost. Megan Pittman gets 15 points. She was one of 5 girls in double digits. Carson Sims 15, Shea Coker 14, Ross Mathis 11, and Sydney Duggan gets 12. And then on top of that, a huge performance from Josie Harding, who gets 21 rebounds, the third 20-rebound performance in the history of the program. So, first I just want to hear you talk about Josie, because rebounding is obviously something that you've really preached on, and it's been really important to everything you guys do, and for her to go out and grab 20 rebounds was huge.
Well, Josie, she didn't get enough praise, and I always try to compliment her whenever I can, just because there's so much that she does that does not show up in the stat sheets. I mean, Josie is physical, and she gives it everything she has, and she plays great defense. She talks, she gets people in the right position, and like I said, just that stuff doesn't show up in the stats. But I think that she did a great job on the boards. Having 21, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the record's better than me, but is that not the most that anybody's gotten since we went Division II?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. So I mean, she's done a great job, and we're very fortunate to have her, and she's on the right track. And obviously, rebounding is huge. I've always been taught growing up that, offense sells tickets, defense wins games, but rebounding wins championships. And then again, that's coming from Pat Summitt. So, she obviously did very well with that, and that's something I'm just a firm believer in. If you can out-rebound a team every night, then you're going to put yourself in a good position to have a chance to win that game.
Well, and obviously we've done a great job of rebounding. I think that Bill had the numbers. You guys have only been out-rebounded like 5 times in your tenure as the head coach. But looking at some of the individual performances throughout the season, you have been really incredibly balanced so far. That's something you really wanted. Megan Pittman leading the team with 11.5 points per game. Sydney Duggan's your freshman coming off the bench and sparking y'all with 10.5 points per game, and then Shea Coker 10 points a game, and then everyone else right there around that 9 to 5 point per game range. So you got to really like the balance you're seeing from your team and that depth you've kind of got.
I do. We've got a system that basically, we're in a motion type offense, and the more that you move, the easier shots we'll get. I tell them all 5 has to be prepared to shoot. All 5 has to be aggressive and looking for a way to score. And I think that they've actually really grasped that this year. And as you can tell, like it's not coming from one person each night. It's coming from somebody different each night, and that's always a great situation to be in. The twins have had great nights. They've come in off the bench and have put up some numbers for us quickly, and that's always great. And Deja's knocked down some threes. I mean, there's so many more. Going down the list. Of people contributing, and again, I tell them all the time, would you rather just be a designated screener, or are you going to try to score? And because when I play ball, I want to shoot the ball every now and again, and I think that they like it, and they obviously are excited about our offense, and right now it's serving us pretty well.
Well, and just to reflect one of the things that you had said, you've had a different leading scorer in all 4 games this year. Megan Pittman has been tied as a leading scorer in 2 games this year, but Shea Coker's led, Megan's led in 2, Rachel Griffin led in 1, and then Carson Sims led in another. So just to reflect what you said, I wanted you just to talk a little bit more about the impact that Sydney Duggan has had on this team already. Somebody that obviously is near and dear to your heart, how hard she works. We talked about that off camera before as well. So just talk about her. She scored double digits in all but one of her 4 games this season. So
Sydney, just nobody matches her effort. On our entire team. You're not going to outwork her. And that's something I'm always just confident in, even when we're playing whatever opponent we're playing. She's going to go in there and she's going to work her butt off, and she's going to stick to her strengths. She's not going to do anything outside what she's capable of doing. And she does a great job. She's a great shooter, but she's also a great rebounder. And, for her only being, I think we got her listed as 5'5". She might be, I don't know. But, she just does a great job. She's strong. She gets great positions, and she's smart. This kid is a smart player. And, she just puts herself in the right positions. And she does a great job for us, and I'm very fortunate to have her. And it's funny now, I've got 3 that are related. So we got the twins, obviously, sisters, and then we've got Duggans, who's their cousin, the twins' cousin. And it's funny because, I mean, you can see that chemistry even on the court. They all 3 play well with each other, and I try to get them in at the same time. It's just this last game, we had a couple fouls. Emily got 2 fouls, and I had to pull her before I could get that lineup in. But they actually work really well together on the court, and they're just really good people. Sydney's she's a pleasure to coach. The twins are a pleasure to coach, and if I could have 16 Sydney Duggans, we'll be all right.
Well, and then that segs nicely to what I want to talk about. The evolution of the twins this year has obviously been really pivotal to y'all's success early in the season, particularly Rachel, who had a career-high 11 points against Cumberland's, and then also made the biggest basket of the game against Lander. Yes. So just talk about the evolution of those 2 on the court.
Well, they've always had talent, and they always work hard. I just think that last year with that transition from high school to college, it takes each teaches their own with that transition. It's different for everybody. And the twins, they just didn't get it. Like the light bulb didn't click on. Defensively, it did. Now, they always give effort and everything, but I didn't feel like they were aggressive on the offensive side. And they, when they got back this year, they kept saying, Coach, I'm going to be more aggressive this year. I'm going to look to attack. I'm going to look to score. And I'm going to do the things, that we've talked about in the past. And they have. I mean, immediately, right from the jump. The second they showed up here in August, they were looking to attack. And matter of fact, Emily more so than Rachel. And now Rachel actually is coming off that ankle injury, and she didn't get to play in our scrimmages. But daggone it, she needs to injure another ankle because, I mean, ever since she got back from that injury, she's been going nonstop. So, maybe it was a good thing. But I think they definitely understand what I'm expecting of them, and they're comfortable in their roles now, and they're coming out and they're performing each and every night. And it's funny because you just never know which one it's going to be, but it's going to be one of them. One night it might be Rachel, one night it might be Emily, but it's going to be one of them. And, and several times it's both of them. They're both doing a good job. Now, when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about scoring. Now, they're both going to be consistent in defense and giving effort and going hard and that sort of thing. But, it just sometimes the ball falls more for Rachel on any given night. Sometimes it falls more for Emily. So it's just good to have them, though, because, again, like I said, I don't ever question anybody's effort.
Well, and then I want you to hit on this a little bit more. Something that you really kind of seem to have been hitting on is that the chemistry of this team has been so good. They've been a joy to coach. You have 8 players returning off of last year's team, but then also a bunch of new pieces mixed in there with that group. So just talk about how you've seen that chemistry kind of develop, throughout the preseason and then now early in the season when you're off to your 4-0 start here.
Well, I think, again, I've had 3 years with Sydney, Megan, and Josie, and I think that they're I think actually, and I know this sounds awful, but losing last year helped us more. I mean, it didn't feel too good at the time, but I think that the girls, they resolved themselves to realize what they want this year. And they came back with a little bit more fire. I mean, again, it was the first time we'd ever gotten to Furman last year, and I think they wanted to do a little bit more damage than what we did. And, so at the time, again, we were pretty devastated about losing, and it was the worst loss we had all season. It had to have been the last game. And, so I think, again, they took a lot from that, and they came back more focused. And as far as getting along, I'd like to take credit for it, but it's not me a bit. It's just that these girls, they're on the same page. They're focused. They're not letting any outside distractions, get in our way. And they've really came together, and they're doing a great job. And each and every day in practice, I mean, practice doesn't always it's not always great. You're going to see a lot of mistakes and things like that. But, again, it's been a lot more productive, energetic, and they're cheering each other on now. And last year, I think a lot, it's just, you're in a drill and you get off to the side and you're tired, so all you're thinking about is yourself. You're just thinking, oh, this is my time to rest. These girls aren't like that now. It's not. I can't take a rest because I have to cheer my teammate that's going now. Like, I got to talk to her. I got to get her in the position that we need for, her to play in a game. And it's a very, I don't know how it shifted, and I'm very thankful that it did, but this is a very selfless team.
Well, and losing can galvanize a team, certainly. But it was a very successful season at the same time, like you said. But now looking forward, the SAC opener tonight, we drug you in here on game day to do this stuff. And SAC opener at Carson Newman tonight before Thanksgiving break, and then you're back home against Lees McRae on Saturday. So just talk quickly about Carson Newman. You know how important it is to get off to a good start in SAC play. We know that now games, they all matter, but these matter with a little bit more weight.
Well, again, and then Carson Newman being our rival, it's always a tough game. I'm sure they're going to have a great crowd tonight, and playing in Mossy Creek's just tough. It's just a tough environment, but I think that these girls are starting to understand how important it is to play on the road. I didn't feel like we had a very good scrimmage against Gardner-Webb. Again, that was the only road scrimmage that we had. And I didn't feel like we played very well against Cumberland's, again, being on the road. And so that's something that we've talked about leading up to this game is just you guys, we got to have the same energy that we're having at home on the road. It's got to be that important. And I think, we've had 2 great practices the last 2 nights, and I feel like, the energy's there, the excitement's there, and even though I hate playing conference games this early, but I'm hoping that we can get another victory under our belt.
Well, and obviously Carson Newman is coming off of a 36-point win over King, so they're feeling pretty good about themselves. So what's it going to take for the Lady Railsplitters to get a win tonight in Carson Newman?
Well, we can't let them get hot. I mean, this is a true 3-point shooting team, and that's what happened against King. I mean, they were on fire. And we just can't allow them to get comfortable from that 3-point line. We're going to try to push them off the 3-point line as much as possible, widen out their offense, and then I do think that they are doing a better job this year on the boards. I mean, they've had more offensive rebounds this year than I think they've had in the past. Matter of fact, I believe they had 26 against Keene that night, if I'm not mistaken, and. It's just I think that's going to be a battle for us, that's something we take pride in. So, again, we're going to go to battle on the boards, and we got to keep them off the 3-point line.